depending on how you represent yourself and other people see you, they could be like, oh, this guy's been with Jesus. This person's been walking with Jesus.
Hi guys, so we just got out of service. Babe, what did you think of the service?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 today.
What were things that stood out to you? Like, what were your 3 takeaways from service?
Made me feel like a lot of the things that you might feel like is your fault, things you blame yourself for, it's not your fault. None of the things that are out of your control is your fault. Yeah, stop being so hard on yourself. Be so hard on yourself. Love yourself, and if you want to be like Jesus, love people the way Jesus loved people, you got to start with yourself.
Oh, you took one of mine. Okay.
No, you just want to copy me, so then you feel like you took one of mine.
No, you definitely took one of mine. Okay, so I would say 3 takeaways for me. Definitely, if you want to be more like Jesus, and you need to use the same filters that Jesus uses when he views us, and that's like, what was it, grace?
Yes.
Grace and love.
Jesus views you in different shades.
Yeah, and it starts off with like grace and love, and you need to view yourself that same way. And when the commandment says love your neighbor as you love yourself, people forget that you actually need to learn how to love yourself, so that you can be able to love your neighbor, and then be able to give grace to people when you meet them, and those that you don't really know, because you don't really know their story behind the story that they have. Right? And then I think a second takeaway for me was that sometimes there's like a generational pushing you towards the generational trauma that exists in your family, and any forms of addiction that exists in your family. But that doesn't mean that you have to say yes to choosing that same route. Your fight is going to be harder than someone who doesn't have that generational trauma. But if you say yes, that yes becomes stronger. If you say no, then that becomes weaker, the trauma that it has. So I would say like that was a second takeaway for me. And that
was your third.
No, I said
you just said. Yeah, you did today, and that was your second.
No, I said the first one was
no,
I agreed with
your
you
third.
about loving yourself. Like, you need to love yourself.
Okay.
And see yourself in the same lens as Jesus does.
Yes, that was your first one.
Yeah, my second one was the generational trauma. You don't have to say yes to the generational trauma that exists in your family.
Oh, okay. I thought the second one.
And your fight is going to be harder. What did you think my second one was?
You said about loving yourself.
Did we not just say that I agree with your first one? That if you want to see yourself in the lens of Jesus.
So you're saying 4 then. You're saying 4, but okay.
No, I'm not.
But it was great. It was great regardless.
Yes. And then my third takeaway. Let's see, what was it? Well, what I put for my main takeaway, like the overall message, is if you want to make sure that, well, not if you want to make sure, there's going to be seasons where you feel like your fire for God burns out, but to make sure that you're staying in this walk with him, you need to have a hunger for God, and you need to have grace. I would say the grace for the wounded.
Yes.
Like, surround yourself around people who are broken, because that in between is what keeps your relationship growing, because you get to see the wonders of God while he's working through those individuals.
My key takeaway was, there's people in my life in this moment that I want to learn to love more, and I feel like I'm not really good at that, because I realize I don't have that love for myself, and I have to learn to love myself, so that way I could learn to love others the way Jesus did. That's my key point. There's people I do want to love, and I need to start with loving myself first, so I can show that love to them.
I think that's something that we need to understand, is that some of the traumas that we deal with, or some of the behaviors that we struggle with, or addictions that we struggle with it, and it's not our fault, because there are things that were predisposed to us.
Yo! Yo, you cooking.
Yes. So, with that being said, I feel like something that people can use to reflect on. He used a genogram,
Yeah.
but use a genogram and really think about what are things that have existed in your family for generations, whether that's alcoholism, whether that's anxiety, whether that's depression, and see what you currently deal with, and then work on the way you approach it and the way that you talk to yourself, and reminding yourself that it's not your fault that you're dealing with that. And I would say like giving yourself some grace as well, because it is something that has existed for generations.
Amen.
But also remember, whatever you say yes to becomes stronger and stronger. So also work on saying no. Any other things you want to say?
What was another thing to talk about? Obeying God and honoring your parents.
Okay, go cook.
That's a good one. I feel like a lot of us feel like as children, what do you say? As children, we obey our parents. And as you get older, you know, you are your own person. You're not supposed to be like your parents. So you are to honor them. And I feel like honoring your parents, the best way you can honor them is by honoring Jesus. And I feel like that's honestly, that's it. I feel like that's the best way to go about it, honestly. Point blank, period. Obey Jesus and you honor your parents that way.
We're on this current series called Dust. You want to talk about Dust real quick?
That's a walk with your rabbi. Show dust of your rabbi. I forgot how he explained it, but it was a bar. All right.
Okay.
I just want to say the bar the right way.
Yeah. So I think what you're trying to get at is you can tell who spends, or not who spends. You can tell how much time, spends. You can tell how much time someone has spent with their rabbi based off of the dust on their clothing. So you can tell how much time someone has spent with Jesus based off like the dust on their feet.
It's a metaphor because Jesus' disciples had dust on their feet, dust on their clothing, and everybody pointed them out like, oh, those are the Jesus people. That's what they were looked at as before. So I feel like depending on your work, depending on how you represent yourself and other people see you, they could be like, oh, this guy's been with Jesus. This person's been walking with Jesus. So, you know, walk in the footsteps of your rabbi.
Yeah. So that's what our series is on. And it's basically just about discipleship. Like, how do we become disciples? So we'll talk to you guys next week.